My project is a fifth grade math extension designed for gifted and talented students who need beyond the regular curriculum. So they would receive the regular curriculum instruction from the fifth grade teacher, and then they would log on to this site and work to create some extension activities. This is the home page. It's the Welcome to Fifth Grade Online Math. There's a short description of who it's designed for. Then I have a link to Mr. Brown's webpage. That's the fifth grade regular teacher. So if there's any questions, the students can link right to his webpage. There is resources. There is a link to the grade 5 parent curriculum guide, which would then describe, as we scroll down through to the math section, the students would be able to see, and any parents looking at this would be able to see what is on the math curriculum for the fifth grade. There is a link to Khan Academy in case the students, when they're working on their own, need a little more reminder or little instructions on how to do some things with the Khan Academy. There is a link to the Common Core State Standards site so that we can see what the math Common Core and how this matches up to some of that. We have a link to the technology standards, and so that we can see which of the standards there we are meeting. We have a link to the gifted and talented programming standards so that we can see how this is based on some of the stuff that is required for their gifted and talented program. And then there is a link to the standards for mathematical practice so that we can see what the big ideas in math are that we are going to be working with. Then I have a course schedule, and I have a calendar, and right now I don't have a lot of the due dates. I have the first day of school in there, and I have the last day of the first quarter as just some basic markers. As we move, then there are the different units that the fifth grade work through, and right now I am starting with number operation with fractions, and I have just a general home page for fractions, and the students can link to the fraction activities either in the fraction site or through a drop-down menu in the bar here. If we look first, we have vocabulary activities. Here we have an activity that we have with the critical vocabulary for the unit. There's links to a Quizlet so the students can use flashcards, or they can have it read to them, and they can play different games that would allow them to learn some of the fraction vocabulary. There's a couple of those. Then there are resources. I have the fifth grade math expressions. That's their online textbook. I do not have the link for that yet. I need to talk to Mr. Brown and get the link to that. I have a link to the Merriam-Webster so that students can check the words if they're not sure of the definitions. Then the projects, there's a couple of different projects that they can use on how fractions, how these vocabulary unit words match with the some of their things that they do in their real life. Then I have, once they have this done, or before they get started, they can look, and there will be rubrics posted so that they can see what they'll be scored upon and how this will be graded. And then once they get their project completed, they can submit it, and that takes them, well, this would be their website, it takes them right to their Gmail so that they can either attach or put a message to Mr. Brown directly that they have something ready for him to grade. When they're done with the vocabulary, there's a section on adding and subtracting fractions, and right now what I have is a link to a worksheet. So this would be some extension practice, some problems, some more difficult problems. So when Mr. Brown gets done explaining to them how to add and subtract fractions, the rest of the students may go into the book and do some of the book problems. These would be some harder word problems, some harder, more difficult problems that they would be able to do. And then the same thing with multiplying and dividing fractions. This would be some more ways for them to learn and work with adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing fractions. Again, there will be a link to their textbook, and there will be links to the Khan Academy, so if they are working at home or anywhere, they can get some reminders on how to do things. Then there are some projects, and this is the STEM-based projects that they'll be doing, and we have a link to a web page that explains how fractions are used in everyday life. So the students would read through this, and then they would return to the project, and then they would choose some of the projects, and there'll be some things here. Now this is not complete. As I stated earlier, I do not actually teach any students, so the district has asked me to put together this to meet the needs of our gifted and talented. I'm going to need to finalize this, continue to work with Jill, our curriculum director, and then meet with Mr. Brown, the 5th grade math teacher, and make sure that some of this information gets in. And as you can see, with all of the different units, this is going to be a year-long project. It's entirely possible that it will take most of the year to get this thing up and running, so that we have all of these units and all of these projects meeting the needs that the district has for our 5th grade gifted and talented math students.